I am Professor Munish Kumar Bhardwaj from School of Engineering and Technology of IGNOU. And we were discussing about that safety in construction. So we will continue with this discussion. In our previous lecture, we discussed about that introduction of the course. Basically, it is a MIS 023 course, which is safety in construction industry. In this regard, I discussed with you the scenario of safety in construction industry, then common causes of accidents. I also discussed with you the obligation of employers as well as the responsibility of employers. And finally, I discussed with you the responsibilities of main contractor. So in continuation, now we will discuss about the responsibility of the employees. Because it is not the employer or the contractor who is solely responsible for the safety at construction site. Employees or the workers are equally responsible for the safety at construction site. Because employer or contractor can provide the things, can make the safety policy, but ultimately it is the worker or the employee who has to follow that safety policy and make themselves as well as the others safe at the construction site by following the policy, rules, guidelines, everything which is made for safety of a employee at the construction site and as well as the others who are present or who are passing by that construction site. So, as far as that responsibility of employees are concerned, the things are like that all good intention to work safely will fail unless the employee himself is not safety conscious. His responsibilities are that first of all, if there is some health problem to the worker or employee, then he or she must report that health problem to the supervisor so that he can take care of that employee. And because of the ill health of that worker, there may be some accident which will affect that person concerned as well as the others present at the site. So it is the sole responsibility of the employee that if he or she is having any health problem, then he or she must report immediately to the supervisor. First thing. Then employees should make themselves aware of all the safety rules and procedures applicable at the site and follow them diligently. One should not say that I was not aware of that. Because of that it happened. So every employee should be well aware of that. What are the safety rules? What are the procedures to do the things safely? And if they follow that, then they can avoid any accidents at the site. Then employees should use equipment and machineries as per instructions of use. Because when you are doing by your own wish, when you are doing the things by your own wish, then it is certainly bound to make some mistakes. So employees or the workers should follow all the instructions that are given by the manufacturer to use any equipment, any machinery. And employees should follow those rules or that policy diligently, very honestly, to avoid any accident. Then one thing is very important, to use the personal protective equipment. There are many personal protective equipment like headgear, like safety clothes, gloves, like safety boots, harness, the goggles basically, and in some cases where there is some dangerous possibility of some dangerous gases are there, then certain type of masks, filters that are actually prescribed that workers should, as according to that site, what type of site it is, what type of risk are there at the site, then the employees should wear the personal protective equipments that generally we call as PPE. This is must. But we see in many cases in Indian scenario that they are not following the norms basically, and they are not using these PPEs, and because of that many accidents occur, and these accidents are fatal accidents in which the death is caused basically. Otherwise serious impairment is caused. So one should not do like that actually. They should wear the PPE as per the requirement of the site. For example, if somebody is working at a height, then it is must to wear the harness, because if some possibility of some fall is there, then it is the safeguard for the employees. So this is very much necessary that all these personal protective equipment should be there at the site and employees should wear them. So this is very, very much important. Then I'll discuss with you some causes of accidents basically, and how the employees can avoid such type of accidents. First of all, let us see accident due to falling. It's very common basically. Whenever a worker is working at a height, so it's a very common. So what the worker should do or the employee should do? Only work at height if you are secured against falling. Secured against falling means here the very important thing is wearing the harness basically. Then second instruction is that do not carry anything in both the hands when you are climbing ladders or steps. Because if you are carrying something, some tools or some material or some machinery using your both the hands, so when you are feeling that you are going to be unstable, you are going to fall, then your both the hands are having something. You do not have an option to get hold of something so that you do not fall. So it is always advisable that do not carry anything in your both the hands. Only your one hand should be engaged at a time. Then watch out for clutter on the construction site. This is a very common you can say scenario that construction sites are very haphazard, cluttered basically. So if you keep your site well arranged and neat, then you can avoid many accidents, because you can avoid tripping, you can avoid hitting the something. So you can avoid many accidents if your site is well organized, well arranged, properly arranged. Then next is accidents because of things falling or sliding. If something is stored at a height basically, some material or tools or machinery is at some height, so one should be careful that these materials or tools are not falling basically from that height, because anybody who is working down that height basically or passing through that area, these things may fall or slide onto that person, and this person may be hit by these falling things. So if something is there stored at some height, of somebody is working and taking tools and other things at a height, then what one should do? Keep an eye on the materials which could topple over. For example, if they are hit by a machine or blown by the wind basically, so in these cases that material may fall. So when you are working in that area or passing through that area, you should be watchful. You should be careful that you move little away from these things or have an eye on that. If something is there at a height when you are working or when you are passing through that area. Then second thing is make sure that your materials and tools do not fall down. For example, if you are working on a scaffolding or some lift, you are carrying them or you are working there. So in both the cases, you should be very careful that some of your tool or material is not falling down when you are working or going at a height basically. Then next is accidents with the tools. When the workers are doing different tasks. Sometimes they are using with the tools which are power tools, and these are sharp tools when they are using. So sometimes what happens that due to the faulty tool or due to that lack of concentration of the person or by some other mistake, then there are some accidents because of these power tools basically. And these accidents are very dangerous accidents. Cutting of hands, cutting of legs, cutting of other body parts basically. So for these one should be very careful. What should the employee should do? Be careful when you use sharp or pointed tools. For example, circular saws, angle grinders and the knives. These first two are very dangerous tools. One should use these tools very carefully, because a very simple distraction can cause a very dangerous accident. This circular saw or this angle grinders. Many accidents happened basically. Generally these angle grinders, these carpenters use, that tile cutters use these things basically. So these tools are very dangerous. So these tools should be used with full care, with full attention. Any minute diversion or any disturbance can cause a very heavy accident. Then follow the instructions for use for each tool you work with. Whenever you are working such type of tools, follow the instructions very honestly. Do not do anything with a careless attitude. Follow the instructions properly. Then other type of accident is accident due to lifting and carrying. This also generally happen in construction industry. That at sites, basically for lifting the loads like the cement bags, stones and many other things like angle irons or girders, steel girders. So usually they do not use the lifting machines, and that labor is generally doing such type of works basically. So a proper body posture should be used when you are lifting. First of all, nobody should lift a heavy load alone. So assess the load, how much load will be there in that particular material, and if you think that you need more than 2 persons basically, so call them. Do not try alone, or do not try for even 2 persons for a heavy load. And if some lifting machines are available, use them. Instead of doing manually, do it mechanically. So how we can avoid the accidents due to that lifting and carrying? That always use suitable technical equipment when you are to lift and move materials and the machinery. Means manual things should be avoided. Now avoid oblique lifting and uneven surfaces if you have to handle lighter loads. Even for the lighter loads, so oblique lifting should not be done. Means you should not lift it at an angle basically. So have a good posture, and when you are in a condition that you can balance that load even for that lighter loads also, you then in that condition, in a better posture, you lift that load basically. Otherwise it may cause that back injury, or if by chance you are not able to balance that load, it can fall on your feet or legs basically. So it can cause damage to your body parts. Then do not lift a load without knowing its weight or center of gravity. 2 things are very important when we are lifting something. First is the weight, that how heavy it is. You must have an assessment that how heavy the load is. In addition to this, even if the load is lighter, you must have where is the center of gravity. So because if something is not in regular shape, then it may be that it is not having that particular item is not having the center of gravity in its visual center, middle basically. Because if something angular thing is there, so it may be having the center of gravity in the heavier part or that larger part. So you have to assess that where its center of gravity will be, and there you should lift basically, you should hold that material basically to avoid such type of accidents or damages. Then next is accidents on internal access ways. That when you are entering somewhere basically, so you should be careful about that. Watch out for yourself and your colleagues when you use trucks, cranes or other vehicles. Whether enough space is there, whether something is not on your way, some material is not stored on your way, whether some workers are working there on your way. So raise an alarm so that they give you the proper way. You are not hitting something, you are not hitting the workers, you are not hitting the material, so that you can avoid any accident. Make sure that materials are correctly loaded. That is also there, that if you are taking some truck having some load like cement bags or that reinforcement steel material, so this should be correctly loaded basically, that it is not going oversized basically, it is not protruding out of your truck or out of your machinery for too long basically. So such type of things we should take care basically. Then we will discuss about that scaffolding work safety. So what is scaffold? Basically scaffolding is an arrangement through which you can climb up for doing some work at a height, and also you can stand up there and can have some material there, store some material there for working basically. So because this is in this case you will be working at a height, so for that purpose you must know all the rules, regulation and the proper way to work at a height when you are using a scaffolding basically. So all scaffolding must be provided with crosswise bracings, because you must have seen that there are vertical members and the horizontal members, but for proper safety there's diagonal members or the bracing should also be there, so that it gives a proper stability and strength to the scaffolding. Then along with these cross bracings, one thing is very important: guardrails. Guardrails basically avoid any type of accident or any type of fall basically. So guardrails comprising of hand, knee and foot rails should be provided for scaffolding over 2 meters height. Means when the height of the scaffolding is more than 2 meters, so there what type of guardrail should be there? Handrail should be there, knee rail should be there, foot rails should be there. Next thing is that blocking up must not be higher or greater than 20 centimeter. Whatever you are using for safeguarding, so this blocking should not be more than the 20 centimeter. One should take care of that. Scaffolding over 3 meters high must only be erected under the direction of a qualified person. If the height of your scaffolding is more than 3 meters, then the erection of the scaffold should be done under the guidance or the direction of a qualified person. There are scaffolding supervisors, scaffolding erectors, and also some senior persons are there who guide you that how to erect the scaffolding. So especially in case when the height of the scaffold is more than 3 meters, so some qualified person should be there to guide that how this erection of the scaffold should be done basically, so that you can make a stable and strong scaffold to provide the proper climbing support for the employees. Then erection instructions must be at the erection site. that whatever instructions are there for the erection of the scaffold, these should be present at the erection site. It should not be there that, oh sir, this erection instructions are in the office, in the head office or branch office. It should not be there. Where the erection is going on for the scaffolding, the erection instructions should be there only. Because if one need to go through that, if one need any help, so they can read it and they can understand it, that how to erect a safe scaffold. Then there are movable scaffolds also. In what are these movable scaffolds? That they are having wheels in their bottom part basically. So these scaffolds, these moving scaffolds are used when you are doing some plaster or some whitewash work, so that at a certain stretch when you finish your work, you can easily move the scaffold to the other part where the work is to be done. You need not to just unfold it or dismantle it and then erection is done. So it takes a long time basically for some such the type of work in which the work is done quickly and it is to be moved to the other place basically. In that case, the movable scaffolds are used, and these movable scaffolds are having the wheels basically at their bottom, so that they can be shifted from one place to the other place. So in this case, when you are using the wheeled scaffold, so wheeled scaffolding must be secured against tripping basically, carefully following the erection instructions, because they are not fixed type of things, they are movable, so there is a chance of tripping. So one should follow the proper instructions so that no tripping occurs in case of that. Scaffolds which are having wheels means the movable scaffolds. Then scaffolding wheels should have brakes and be protected against falling out. That whenever you have moved the scaffold from one place to another place, then if you leave that in a unbraked position, means you have not applied the brakes basically, you have left free. So when the workers are working, it can with the blow of wind or some person is hitting, or there is an habit that some persons are standing there taking support from that scaffold or something, whatever is there. So if such type of things are there, then this scaffold will move basically, because you have not applied brakes to the wheels basically. So it is very much compulsory that when you are using the wheeled scaffold, you should apply the brakes there and protect these wheeled scaffold against the falling. A notice stating the scaffolding classification and what is to be used for must be provided with the all fixed scaffolding. In case of scaffolding, there should be a proper notice that what is the classification of scaffold, and second thing, what is the purpose, that for what purpose it is to be used. Then all scaffolding should have safe access routes, which may consist of steps, step ladders, or ladders depending upon construction and use of scaffolding. Means there has to be that how to climb on that. So there should be some steps or ladders, and also these climbing route also is used at the escape route also in case of some emergency. So these are some things. If the workers follow these instructions, follow these rules, they can make the site safe, they can make themselves safe, and the other workers who are also working or who are passerbys at that construction site, they can make all them safe. So with this, I hope that you must have enjoyed this discussion, and I hope that you will go through your course material and come up with some questions or your doubts or queries in our next lecture. Thank you.